Have you been struggling with how to choose colours for your coloured pencil projects? Today I will show you 3 easy ways to choose coloured pencils for your reference images. The first method that I'm going to discuss is using either an app like Photoshop or a similar app where you can go directly into the photograph and use a tool like the dropper tool, find the colour for that area and then select that and put that on a bar at the side and match your pencil to that area. Now the reason I like using this method is because you can look at that colour directly. If you're using your eye alone, you may be a bit fooled by the colour that's next to it. It's really important that you think about the colour and how it's placed next to another colour. So if you're looking at this colour of the raspberry, for example, and it's not next to the green, your eye might be fooled by it. So it's really important that you get an accurate account of that colour and look at it with regards to that colour selection that the pipette tool is using or the dropper tool is using. So if you can find an app like Photoshop or something like that, directly take the colours, put them to the side and then leave a space for layering your pencils. That is a really useful tool to use. The next method I'm going to talk about is becoming familiar with the colours you're using. I always have a swatch chart of all the colours that I use, all the different brands and also the different layering. So say for example skin tones, I have a swatch chart of all different skin tones that I like to have in the different pencil brands that I use. Another thing to bear in mind is if you're using a coloured paper, say for example pastel matte or toned paper, then what you should do is swatch out your colours on that paper rather than using on white paper, because it's going to impact on your colours that you are using. So now I'm going to talk about the third method which is available to most people, and that is an app called the Coloured Pencil Picker. There are other apps available, but this is the only one that I've experimented with so far. You can download this app for free, but I can highly recommend buying the full version just simply because it gives you more options. As you can see at the bottom, it is locked, but if you wanted to go more in depth with your shading of colour pencils, you can pay £7.99 for the full version, and that is £7.99. You will see in the description below a link to both the iOS and the Android version of this app. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now some demonstrations of how I use the app and how I layered the app, and by that I mean stages of a picture that I recently produced using this app. What I will say is, especially if you're using the full version, it will give you quite a lot of options for the colours, and what I would suggest, and this is just my opinion, is that maybe you want to use your initiative and maybe use fewer. So that's obviously down to your preference, but it will give you a lot of options with regards to the colours. So now I'm going to go into showing you how I interpreted the colours. So the first thing to mention is I decided to use mainly Prismacolor Premium for this particular piece of work. And when you are using this app, it gives you a choice of pencils. And what I decided to do was to use Prismacolor Premium for the main bulk of the blending. The reason that I wanted to use this particular pencil is it's really good for achieving a smooth blended effect. And then what I was going to do, and I decided to do, was for the finer details I decided to use polychromos. If you want to find anything out regarding the products that I've used in today's clip, then please check the description below. Also, I decided to use Strathmore Bristol Smooth paper, and again that's because I wanted to go for a really smooth effect. So now I'm starting to layer up these colours, and as I said, it's best to go with your intuition. If you don't believe that a particular colour is going to work out, especially when you're looking at your reference, and it's best to go with the flow. Maybe swatch out a colour on the piece of paper next to you, and as I said, if what you're looking for is maybe an effect with a particular colour of paper, say for example if you have a look at this reference, it's got a really nice dark grey background, you could maybe look at using Pastel Matte or the Mi-Tinte range of papers. They've got some really nice grey tones in there, and you could go straight on to working on those papers. One aspect that I did find really annoying about using the app was switching between different brands of pencils. When I'm creating a coloured pencil piece, I usually switch between 3 brands, and that is Prismacolor Premium, Polychromos and Caran d'Ache Luminance. So in the end, I did have a handle on what layering I was using. I was using a few colours because I was just focusing on the detailed areas. However, it would be really useful if there was a way that you could easily do this, because I was having to come back out, reload the image, and even though it said it saved the image, I couldn't find a way to do this. So there is probably an easy way to do this, but I just found it quite tricky coming back in, coming back out. If you are struggling with this, what I would suggest you do is maybe just keep a little swatch at the side of the brand that you are using, minimally or less frequently than the main bulk of pencils that you are using on your page, because I know that many of you do use a few brands on one image because you have your areas that you blend and then your detailed areas, and that's what I would suggest that you do, because this app is amazing. It's just that was one thing that I would improve. All in all, I was really pleased with this app, and I would certainly recommend it for beginners that are starting out on their colour pencil journey. I would put in there one caveat, and that is that just be careful of the amount of pencils that it suggests to you, because sometimes it can be overwhelming and the app will recommend a lot of colour choices to you. However, try them out, because it suggested some choices to me that I probably would have discounted, and then when I tried them, they did actually work. So say for example on the raspberry, it suggested in areas using gold and bronze and silver, and I wouldn't have thought of using them, and they actually worked really well. So have a go, see if it works, and I would certainly try it out on one complete image and see what it turns out like, because I tested it out on this image and I'm really pleased with the results. I think it's worked out well. I did, however, take a couple of the colours out because they were a bit dark, but I think I'd need to have a really good play with this app, because there are features on it like the grading of the tones, and I'm going to have a really good play with it, but I was really pleased with it. I think it would be really good for beginners. I hope you got value from today's content. If you would like to learn more about blending, check out the video at the top, and if you're beginning on your colour pencil journey, then why not check out the colour pencil playlist at the bottom.